Tell me how you racially identify.
I identify as Korean. I used to live in Korea. I was living there for 1 year. I love the culture, I love the history, the people. I've put myself through a lot of pain. I've had a lot of surgical procedures to have more of a Korean aesthetic. I spend a lot of time learning the language.
안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
만나서 반가워요.
반갑습니다.
이름이 뭐예요?
네?
이름이 뭐예요? 이름이 뭐예요?
Okay.
They ask you how you are.
Learning how to cook Korean foods.
I came out
Earlier this year, sharing that with the world. People didn't really get it. Not everybody will understand straight away, but I hope over time people will be kind of more accepting with me.
Transracial does not exist, and I think it is very, very harmful for us to push the narrative that it is possible to switch races.
I was not happy the way I was. So I went to Korea and I had the most incredible experience of my life. It changed me, gave me happiness, and people have no right to take that happiness away from me.
I can't sit up here and say, oh, I'm suddenly a white woman. And if you as a white person say, oh, I can be black or I can be Korean, and I can't swap and benefit from the privilege that you benefit from, then it's clearly not an equal exchange. Because whiteness in this country has been set up in a way, how I interact in the police, how I interact with the medical system can result in me dying. Cultural appropriation essentially dictates people who are ethnic minority. Whatever they do isn't really of value. You don't deserve to be associated with something that you've created because a white person has either renamed it or used it for their profit. And you are not a Korean man. No matter how much surgery you do, no matter how much of the aesthetic you adopt.
Nobody can take away what a minority group has been through. But I think when we do combine cultures, and millions of people now do almost adopt a lot of the Korean cultural aspects, because through K-pop or K-drama they love it so much they then start adopting those, whether that's the hairstyle, whether that's the fashion style, whether they want to go and live in Korea. We all have the right to choose how we identify, to be who we want to be. I'm Korean, people need to accept that.
Has a lot to do with everything you're doing. I think we need to recognize that white supremacy is a global issue. What you are essentially saying is that you can change your race and you can't change your race. And I think if you don't recognize that power imbalance in what you're doing and how it's disrespectful to me, you're just kind of proving the point that you're doing this for money and attention.
No, I agree with that. Every person that was born Asian, they do go through these struggles. I understand what you're saying in terms of white privilege. I've never had that experience, but I am not one of those people. I am completely different, so I don't like to be put in the same category as someone like that. I understand some people might get offended by what I do, but I'm not actually going out there doing bad things. I'm not doing anything to hurt people. I'm just living my truth. I'm doing what makes me happy.
So you identify as queer, right?
Non-binary.
Non-binary, okay, I'll recognize that.
Thank you.
So if you as a non-binary person are adopting the culture of a minority in a minority, because we know that the queer experience in Korea is,
It's very difficult. That's why I was speaking up, and actually I helped a lot of people by doing that.
What you are doing is really giving white savior, like it really is, because you seem to think that you can adopt the oppressions of minorities. What do you think you can do as someone who is so far removed from that experience? These people are fearing for their lives in the UK.
Do you think it's better for no one to say anything and speak up for these people? I'm speaking up for these people. I'm trying to help these people.
You center those who are affected. You don't center yourself. And that's my problem with you.
Boy, it's better than doing nothing. What do you do? What do you do to help people around the world?
You can't ask me that. You don't get to ask me whether I go to protest or what I do.
You're criticizing me for doing something which I'm actually helping a lot of people.
You think you're helping people by taking a picture? You don't get to question me, and I'm not even going to entertain that.
You don't get to question me.
Yes, I do. Well, I just did. So what's up?
Well, why can't I question you?
Because I think you're not questioning me because
exactly what you're saying. No one can take away someone's lived experience. But I do feel we're at a time in history where we can embrace other cultures. It's great to be multicultural, it's great to be diverse, and of course people do appropriate cultures, but for me, I'm appreciating other cultures, and I feel that is a good thing, and I think that will help break down cultural barriers.
A lot of people say, oh, we're at a different stage in society now. We're really not. We're not far removed. We've had BLM and Asian hate all in the same year. If that can happen still at this point, we haven't really made progress as a society enough for all of us to say that we can be transracial, or we can swap races, or we can adopt aspects of one's culture without causing them harm or without their permission. There's a way you can interact with a culture without disrespecting or disregarding their lived experiences. I engage with Korean culture, but I will always be a black woman.